Marcus Crowick is a business coach, profit-first professional, and entrepreneur with over 40 years of experience helping business owners take control of their finances and build profitable, stress-free businesses. In this podcast, you'll get real-world strategies and practical insights to grow, increase profits, and create financial stability. Whether you're a tradie, a startup, or an established entrepreneur, Marcus's straightforward approach will help you build a thriving business. This is Business Unlocked.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Unlocked. It's my great pleasure to have with me today a great friend of mine and a colleague from Profit First, Nadia Vendetti. Nadia's been in manufacturing. After manufacturing, she became a bookkeeper and a registered BAS agent so that she could help people with their finances and understanding what was going on in their business. And I met her when she joined Profit First, and I joined Profit First because she wanted to do even more to help business owners understand their finances. Nadia, welcome along today.
Hello.
So the point of the podcast is to help business owners get information that helps them understand their business, make better choices, hopefully make more profit, have a stress-free life. So my questions are always about, what are your lessons in business that can add to them doing better in their businesses? So tell us a little bit more about yourself than my brief introduction. And
Okay, so basically I owned a manufacturing business with my husband back in the early 2000s. We moved on from there and I decided to start a bookkeeping practice, which grew, and I then became a Profit First professional just to help give my clients that extra edge and for them to understand their finances better from a different perspective. As we know, Profit First is different to your standard bookkeeping and your standard accounting.
That's going to become my first question, to explain that to people a little bit more.
Yes.
So any bookkeeping?
Yes, bookkeeping.
And you've moved on from that really now, in a way?
Into mentoring. So I mentor clients. I actually work alongside them rather than send them off to do things. So I work one-on-one with clients and so enjoying that, loving that, because I understand where they're coming from, been there, done that. So that's why I love it.
So give us that 30 seconds on, what money mentoring means. You work alongside them. What are you actually doing with them and what are the outcomes for them?
Okay, so I actually look at all their finances, obviously, their accounts, and I look at them through Profit First eyes, through accounting eyes. We break it right down, look at everything, and we start making hard decisions, or they start making hard decisions about where, what they need to cut, what they don't, what they really need, what they forgot they were paying for. The way I break their business down into departments. So we have like the HR department, the marketing department, even it doesn't matter how big business is or how small business.
Yes,
I do the same thing. And that usually helps them as well because they never look at their business through those eyes. They always look at them as one hat and everything sits under that. So I work with them one-on-one in each department and we run the numbers, but I also help them if they have questions around staff or, things that they should be doing. Yeah. So it's just general business really.
Okay. And mentoring them in their
area.
And a typical outcome that somebody might have from that, just so that people know where we're going with this episode, the outcomes.
So a typical outcome would be that they don't, apart from the financial side, a lot of them bypass their staff's strength. And also don't look at they've got their staff in the wrong positions. And sometimes it's only when we sit down and talk to each of them that they could be utilised better in other areas. So that's a really big thing for a lot of companies. Even if they've got 3 staff, it can still, you think, okay.
In a whole episode just talking about that, human design, you're qualified in human design. I do DISC. Let's step back a bit now because this started with, we got to know each other through Profit First.
Yes.
So what's your brief view for people on what Profit First is all about?
So Profit First is about changing your habits in the way you look at your numbers firstly and the way you work with your dollars, actual dollars, rather than the piece of paper numbers.
What's the difference to, like people go along to their accountant and they speak to their accountant. What's different about what happens in Profit First?
They usually go to their accountant and find out they have a tax bill but don't see the money in the bank. So that's
Right.
when we have these conversations. I have this tax bill of whatever amount it is, but where's that money? So
Yes.
this is where I sit down and I show them where that money is, because accountants usually run on accrual accounting. We should look at
Yep.
numbers through cash. So basically what's hitting the bank and what's coming out of your bank. So either income or expenses in and out of the bank.
Yeah. So what I see there, when they go to the accountant and they're getting that tax bill, the accountant's telling them that they've got a profit,
Correct.
but they're saying, well, where's that money?
Mhm.
I don't
Exactly.
have 100 grand, 400 grand sitting in the bank account, and you're telling me I got a profit. So is that when you're saying where's that money? Is that what we're
Exactly.
looking at?
Where's the money? And I'm working so hard, but where is that money? All I do is pay bills. I don't have enough for myself. There's
Yes.
always those likely stories, the same stories. And I must admit, we've all been through it. In our manufacturing business, we went through the same thing as well. We're paying everybody else and also forgetting to pay yourself. Not forgetting, you just didn't have that money left over. And it's only when you sit down with the business owners and you explain all this to them that it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just that they really need to look at their numbers through a different lens.
And there's that thing when you're talking accounting, there's things that happen in accounting that don't make sense to us as normal people. Yeah. So in manufacturing, I imagine you would have had inventory.
Correct.
I mean, like I had this even when I had a shop. Well, I've paid for it, but you're not counting that as an expense. I don't understand. Things like that happen. Money's gone out of the bank account. It's not there anymore.
That's right.
But you're telling me that that's not an expense or I've made a profit. So that there's all that confusion around what accounting does. And then you're saying, look at it through different eyes.
Correct. We have to forget about that. Well, not forget about it, obviously, because you need to know it. While you're running your business as a business owner, let the accountant do their thing at the end of the year. But as a business owner, look at it through the profit first eyes, where you're looking at things through your bank account. You don't even really, apart from checking your expenses, making sure, that what's in your bank account, that you have money in your bank account, because there's no point in having profit on paper but no money in your bank account. So we look at it through the cash eyes rather than the accrual eyes.
Yes, and that makes total sense to us. I've got cash going out, I've got cash going in, I can add it and subtract it and see exactly what's there. And then the next part, you're talking about departments. Does that roll over into profit first as well?
Well, yes, it does. It depends on the business and on the business owner. So I customise to business. I know the Profit First book gives you the 5 accounts and they're great to start, but then different businesses have different needs.
Can I just stop you there and come back to you? So what is Profit First saying? What's the methodology when you're saying they've got different bank accounts?
So the bank accounts is your income. If you have any materials and subcontractors, an account for that, an account for your profit, an account for yourself, for the owner, an account for tax, and an account for operating expenses, which is separate to material.
So it sounds like, if I'm listening to that, I'm going, hang on, you're telling me you're going to make my life simpler and I'll understand it, but you've just loaded me up with all these bank accounts. What's the point of that?
The point is, it's not going to create a mess or anything in there from the bookkeeping side or even for yourself. So basically, you will open up your bank account once a week, once a fortnight, whatever you normally do, however often you pay your bills, so at the same rhythm that you normally would. And you will look at your income account, which has all your income for the week or the month or the fortnight, and then distribute based on percentages that we work on. So we provide a profit assessment before you open
so that sounds to me, just like you were saying before, you've got the workers in the business and people have their different jobs to do. The way people normally look at money in the business, it's a bit like, to me, I hope people get this, having a stew, but you can't identify the different bits of stew in there. It's all just food. You can't pick out the carrot or the meat. In normal accounting, it's just cash.
Yes,
the cash will look the same. And you're saying, but actually there's a different job for the cash to do, just like there's different jobs for people to do. Mm-hmm. And a really important job in the business is that there's profit. So we're going to give some of that cash a job to be profit. Some of that cash has a job to be paying for GST. Am I on the right track?
You sure are, yes. You break it up into the different accounts.
So now we've got a system where it makes sense because it's cash in, cash out.
So when that bill comes in, you take it from that account.
So a very simple system. It's the old-fashioned envelope system done for businesses and using bank accounts instead of envelopes nowadays. Yes. Why call it Profit First?
Because you take your profit first.
What a
So
novel
that-
idea. What does that actually mean?
So basically, even if you haven't got it implemented, I always advise this to everybody I meet. Just take 1% of what's in your bank account each week or each month or each fortnight and just put it into another account. Just 1%. You won't feel it. But in 3 months' time, at the end of the quarter, you will have something there. And it'll be something that you can either reduce debt with, or you can go out and take your family out for dinner.
And what's the philosophy behind taking some money out to be profit for your business?
Realistically, your business should be supporting you, not just your suppliers and your staff, right?
That's
So you don't
basically.
you don't start a business to support everybody else except for yourself. And it should support you first, and that profit is yours. So it's definitely a way of, at the end of the quarter, to look at and say, I can do this, and and it does make a huge difference. Mentally, it does, seeing that money in the account.
You're a business owner. You go into business to make a profit. Hopefully, that's why you're in business. And you do employ people and do all of those other good things. And you need to be rewarded. Just like if you bought shares in a publicly traded company, you'll get a dividend from them. In your company, it should be producing a profit and giving you a dividend.
Exactly.
Basically. And
Yes,
that's on
it
top
should.
of paying you a wage.
A wage, correct.
Because it's got to pay you a wage to do what you do. Otherwise, you might as well go and work for other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've talked about different bank accounts, and you started with profit. So how do you work out what the profit's going to be? How much is it going to be allocated to do its job?
So I sit with the business owner and work out what their goals are and what their profit goal is.
Okay.
And we reverse engineer it based on that. So then we work backwards from there. And so then the business owner knows how much they need in sales.
You're adding up once you've worked out what they need. Well, here's the profit that you'll want to achieve. Here's what you need to pay yourself. Here's what you're paying staff, all the other expenses.
Exactly.
And then work out how the business is going to actually
support.
How do they work out? You mentioned the 1% for profit as a starting point, like just put something away, which is like having a Christmas club account, just get going and put that little bit away. When it's more than that, what are you doing to work out, what the profit is that they're trying to achieve?
Okay, so we run a profit assessment for them, going through all their expenses, income, through their accounts, obviously, using their whatever software they use. We grab the reports from there, and then we put it through our assessment, profit first assessment. And that's when we give them the initial. And sometimes it's really scary because what they envisage and what is actually the truth are two different things, because it's just all laid bare for them. But it also gives them clarity. So they understand where their business has been and where their business is going to go, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, not just flick a coin and see what happens.
So you work out where they are now, and you said you talk to people about their goals, their personal goals, their business goals.
Realistically, when you're a business owner, your personal goals and your business goals come as one. You need your business to support your personal goals.
Yep.
So we sit down and we talk about both, and we then reverse engineer from there. So whatever the goals are, and then we put a time limit on, whether it be 12 months, depending on the goal, obviously, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, and I show them the roadmap on how they can achieve it.
What's the problem that you see if people don't get that clarity and insight about their business?
They work really hard thinking they need to work hard because that's the only way they're going to make money. But working hard sometimes is actually working against you.
Yeah.
Because you're burning out and you're not making the right decisions based on what you need as a business and as a person too, as a business owner. I also see that once we've done this assessment, a lot of comments I get is, oh my goodness, how did I not know this sooner?
Yeah.
How did I not? Yeah, how did I not?
And I've been there. Like, I'm not going to stand here going, I've known this all my life. Like I was saying, when I had a shop and I'm buying inventory for the shop and wondering why the accountant is not treating that as an expense, I just don't understand. Now I do. Lots to learn. We all learn, don't we, along the way?
Exactly, because a lot of people go into business because they're great at what they do. Well, you have to be, and they have a passion for what they do, but they don't know the money, the business side, as in the accounting. Not everyone's an accountant. Profit First actually simplifies it for them, where they don't need to be an accountant.
Yeah.
Anybody that is in business can definitely understand it.
And what you said there about, people are good at their business, the countless times I've had people say to me, I'm really good at doing what I do, but nobody ever taught me how to run a business. And I say, well,
Absolutely.
luckily for you, I'm terrible at swinging a hammer or whatever it happens to be, but I've spent, a good portion of my life learning how to run businesses. Sometimes people think that they've learnt how to run a business because even if they've done a university course or a TAFE course, they do a semester on business. I said, well, semester on business, you've hardly even dabbed your toe into the water.
Yeah.
So tell me, maybe I should have done this up front, a couple of outcomes that you've had with clients that are really great.
Okay, so one client went from basically really, really large debt and struggling, almost feeling like he had to give up and liquidate, and reached we were his last. He said, I'm just going to give one more thing a shot. And I sat with him and we went through it, and he was so vigilant about every penny that came in and every penny that went out. The one thing, though, that he struggled with was collecting money. And I said to him, that is your number one thing you need to do, is be on top of collecting the money, the invoicing.
Yeah.
Send them reminders the day before and then start chasing them after when they're late. And so as soon as he started doing that, he saw a change, but also the fact that he didn't realise the expenses that he had signed up to and forgotten, like subscriptions and stuff, but they weren't small subscriptions. They were quite large that he'd just forgotten. They were just coming out.
Yeah.
He stopped using his credit card. That became now a debt that we were paying down.
Yep.
In 2 years, he had paid down $500,000 of debt.
Wow.
And that was just within the business. Yeah. And he could not believe, because he was at the brink of closing down.
So that's a really good one. We need to point out it's not just because you're finding things tough that you put in place. If you're doing well and you put this in place, you're going to do even better. But to pay that down, so you haven't gone in and helped him with we need to market the business and grow it 4 times. It's we need to manage the business properly.
Yes.
And that's a really important lesson that I would see when people, because I talk about this cash flow tidal wave, that people are struggling maybe to pay bills and they think the answer and the sexy answer is market and grow. The tidal wave to me is you're running away from the issue, but that wave is growing and growing and growing, whether it's debt or whatever. And you're using the work you're doing to pay the bills from before, and then you grow again and get bigger bills, so you've got to get bigger again. But it's not profitable work you're doing. You're just growing cash and working harder. Whereas, what you've just, $500,000 in 2 years, that's a big thing to do.
It was because he did have the turnover. It wasn't the turnover. It was all the other things that he wasn't on top of. He didn't have a bookkeeper who could manage that for him. He also never looked at his accounts, was busy in the business, that all he could see was money going out, but there was bills coming in that he had to pay, but he didn't have the money. And so he never actually looked at things. He was just constantly working. And he had that mentality that he needed to get more sales to keep the business going. But sometimes it's not. It's actually stop, think, analyse your accounts, really analyse your business.
All the time it's stop, analyse, think about what you're doing, because you've got to have, it doesn't matter who you are, you've got to have a profitable model in place. The business has to work on a model that's going to produce profit, not just cash, and then you can grow that. All right, a few things that have come up. Accounting tells you some things, but it really doesn't tell you how the business is going from day to day. You need a system in place, and we're both great believers in Profit First to help do that. Understand what your goals are and reverse engineer the business to deliver the profit that you want in there. Give your money a job in the business, which is what Profit First does, and then it knows its job and it does its job. You don't need to have big marketing plans in place to grow your business profitably.
But you do need clarity.
You do need clarity, absolutely. So on that, people can get some clarity. They can do a session with yourself, starting with a Unlock Your Next Move session.
Yes.
20 minutes. Complimentary session with you. They can contact you,
Nadia at nadiavendetti.com.
And you can just email me at success@businessunlocked.com.au. Nadia, thanks so much for being here. We'll get you along again to dive deeper into Profit First and really explain it to people and how you give them some steps to immediately take. I mean, you've given them one today. Open up a profit account, 1%. Put 1% into that account, just like a Christmas club. all of a sudden you'll have some money there and you can go and reward yourself.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Thanks for having me, Marcus.